Hi there guys, Monty Hook here from Easy VA. I'm over here in the Philippines at the moment in our office, and stay tuned because in this video I'm going to give you a really powerful tool and walk you through an exercise which is going to help you to decode or deconstruct or unpack, as we call it, unpack your business so that you can identify what are the activities that you are doing day to day, week to week, month to month, and identify what are the low value activities versus the high value activities. Now, as an entrepreneur, if you want to scale, if you want to be a key person of influence, your focus needs to be on nothing but high value activities, and go through a process consistently of what I call, or what I say, clearing your plate of the low value activities. Clear your plate of the low value, fill it with high value, and then that's how you scale your business. So in this exercise, we're going to identify, the high value activities, which helps you grow the business, which drives revenue to the business, and most importantly, identify the low value activities, which is the menial administration. It is bookkeeping. It is even social media. It is organizing and handling and even replying to your emails. Most people don't realize that they spend hours a day on this kind of stuff, and that is something you could very easily give away to a staff member or a personal assistant, or even better, a virtual assistant over here in the Philippines, very cost effectively. So this exercise that we're going to go through is going to help to systemize that and make it super easy to plug somebody in. So let's get stuck into it. Okay, welcome guys. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through our methodology called Outsource to Scale, with the main objective, of course, for you to become as highly leveraged as possible, for you to get as much of your time back so that you can focus on nothing but the high value activities. So this Outsource to Scale methodology has come about by working with over 600 businesses in Easy VA. Easy VA, we have offices over here in the Philippines. We are what we call a co-managed outsourcing solution. So many of the virtual assistant solutions out there is where you get connected with a freelancer, or you get connected with a contractor, or somebody who works from home. We're not in that game. Easy VA, we have permanent full-time employees. They can only work for us. So what that allows us to do is to recruit talented people who are there for the long term. If you want to scale your business, you cannot do it using just freelancers. It'll only get you so far. So at some point you need to start thinking like a bigger business, and you need permanent assets, you need full-time people. You can absolutely do that offshore or partly offshore. I'm of the belief that you should have the right combination of onshore and offshore. But regardless of what that looks like, your offshore team, if you want a high-performing business, they should be permanent assets in your business. So by them being employees, and we control the environment, obviously, so they're in our offices and they have managers in place, etc. So having worked with so many businesses and having seen what works and what doesn't work with outsourcing, what are the successful businesses doing versus the ones that really struggle with building their teams, the methodology for Outsource to Scale has come about through that. And we also have a consulting division to the business called Co-Sourcer, and that is really where we work with slightly bigger businesses, 25 plus team, and we do the strategic planning, the workforce planning, and then from that, then we start to build out the team, and they might have their own private office in the Philippines. It's really a customized solution every time, but there's a lot more strategic planning in the Co-Sourcer method. Easy VA is really designed for the micro business, the small business, who really just need to get moving and just need to plug staff in. So we do a lot of hard work with our clients to unpack and decode exactly what needs to get done before we put in the staff. But with Easy VA, it's a co-managed thing, so everything is taken care of, and we can very quickly put people in and very quickly build a team. So that's really what I want to talk about today, which is Outsource to Scale. What is the low-hanging fruit for you in terms of starting to scale your business, which is generally you getting your time back so that you can focus on the vital activities, the highly leveraged, the highest value activities in the business. So another framework that we use comes from Dent Global. Dent is most well known for their business accelerator programs, run in 7 cities around the world. The flagship program is called Key Person of Influence. If you haven't read these books by Daniel Priestley, I highly recommend you do so. I've done a lot of work with Daniel Priestley in the UK and Glenn Carlson in Australia. These guys do amazing stuff. And what I really love is one of these things called the entrepreneur journey. And what they say is that there is a predictable journey in scaling for entrepreneurs. And one of the most important things is to really focus on the right things at the right time and not be distracted by bright shiny objects, and what are the exact things that you should be doing at the various stages to fast track your growth and your scalability. So I'm going to be referring to this entrepreneur journey as we move through. So this framework that we've developed called Outsource to Scale really helps businesses to navigate their way through the entrepreneur journey using outsourcing in different ways at the right time. And the methodology is made up of these 6 parts. First one is redefine. That's where we do the strategic planning. We come into your business, we do the consulting, and we look at the targets, the objectives, what's your vision, and we really define what that strategy looks like. And we also do a financial analysis to understand what's going to be the impact, usually a positive impact, of outsourcing and building an offshore team. The second part is relegate, and that's where we really start to deconstruct the business. We look at you as the entrepreneur and we unpack what it is that you do day to day, and we start to delegate, and we might put in a virtual assistant for you or a personal assistant for you, and that's really where you want to start the process of delegation and having yourself as highly leveraged as possible, which has you increase your value. So of course, recruit is the next step. That's really where the focus starts to become on building the team, putting people around you, and working on the organization. Once you have a team in place, of course, you want to be able to keep them there. And a lot of that comes down to the environment, the culture, performance management, etc. So we work very closely with businesses, making sure that their offshore team is an extension of the values and the culture that you have locally. So then the next part is re-engineering. So in the context of scaling a business, building a global organization, it's very important that you build out the systems, the technology, and improve the processes so that you have a scalable and saleable model. The last part then is resolve. Now, all these parts, we say, equal this part. And one of the things that we see time and time again is that those businesses that have a global team, they have a global thinking, and they're using their business as a force for good and making positive impact in the world. And that resonates all the way through the business, including their offshore team. And everybody in the business understands what's the big problem in the world that we're solving. Then that's really something which adds value to the scalability of the business. So what we say is that there is 3 phases in this entrepreneur journey. The first phase being leverage. And that's really where the idea is to unpack what it is that you do, plug in support so you are doing nothing but the high value activities. That sets the framework for being able to have a scalable business. Scale is where you start to build out the team and the organization, the performance, the culture, etc. And then building a global business from there using systems and process improvement and technology. So the thing I want to focus on now is leverage. So no entrepreneur is exempt from this. Every entrepreneur in some way or manner, including myself, can leverage themselves even further. So one of the things that we talk about in the Dent programs is this thing called the entrepreneur bet. And the reason why so many entrepreneurs get thwarted in these early stages is because they refuse or they choose not to give up what we call the functional tasks. So that's things like bookkeeping, networking, delivery, doing your emails, managing things online, invoicing, social media. All the things that could be done by somebody else, especially remotely, are the functional things that really you should not be focused on. What you should be focused on is the high value activities, which is working on the business and bringing revenue into the business. So one of the reasons why entrepreneurs choose not to give this up is because they can't see the return on investment for giving it away. So the entrepreneur bet basically says that if you start to give this stuff away now, somewhere down the line, and probably very, very soon, if you just focus on the vital activities, what's the highest value activities, that's getting on the phone, making sales, that's going out, doing partnerships, that's getting your content out there in the world. If you focus on those activities and actually put somebody in, and it might cost you money, but that's the bet. The bet is that if you give those functional tasks away, that you will bring in more business. So this is the reason why so many entrepreneurs just get stuck at this point and don't move beyond the early stages of business and start to scale, because they don't take this bet. So one of the things that we help people through is a process which will actually help you deconstruct what it is that you do, so it becomes a lot clearer. You've got some visibility to what it is that you actually do, and then you can recruit for the right reasons. You can recruit the right people, and there is definitely best practice to outsourcing. There's definitely best practice to recruiting virtual assistants, and that's obviously where we get involved. So at the website here, easyva.com/outsource to scale, there's this video you're watching now. There's also where you can download the exercises. So once you click on this, it will take you through to this page, and you will download the templates. So once you download those, one of the documents you'll have is this Outsource to Scale unpacking template. So the idea here is that you have a framework to be able to enter all the task details in. So you want to go through a process of figuring out what it is that you do day to day, week to week, month to month. And this might seem like, a logical thing that you know what you're doing, but you'd be very, very surprised to understand how much time you spend on certain things. A lot of people don't realize that they spend typically 2 to 3 hours a day or more just on organizing their emails, going back and forth to their emails. Once you have some visibility to that, can become a lot stricter, and realize that, well, if I could put somebody in place for $15 an hour to handle 3 hours of these lower end tasks, you start to question yourself about how you're spending your time. So this is a very useful exercise to go through, even if you're not looking to outsource, even if you're not looking to hire somebody even now, but to understand what it is that you do day to day. So then you can turn it into systems and processes, which then allows you to build a team. So the idea here is to just go through the prompts here: administration, accounting, bookkeeping, product service delivery, customer service, sales and sales support, business development, partnerships, marketing, social media, media design, web, tech. So the idea is this is just prompts. Put down the tasks in here, and what you want to do is you want to make a note here of who is completing the task. Is it me? Is it other? Or is it nobody? So example, if there's a task that should be being handled, like prospecting in LinkedIn as an example, then you want to put that in there that nobody is doing it. So you then want to mark whether this is a high value or low value activity. So emails, they are a low value activity. Even though you might think it's high value, you can actually get somebody to organize all your emails so that at the end of the day, you're just left with, maybe half a dozen, and then they are the high value ones that you need to attend to. But organizing it is low value. So then you want to note how many hours a month does this task take in your business. So if it's 2 hours a day, then you might put 40 hours in a month. Who should be handling, right? So it should be a future virtual remote staff. Then current cost per hour. So if this is you doing this task, then place a value on what you are worth per hour. Now, of course, we're not aligned to the idea that you should charge yourself out per hour. Of course, we are aligned to the idea of having a product ecosystem, and what people buy is the value rather than you per hour. But for the sake of this exercise and to demonstrate how much money that you might actually be burning by not getting this support, just put what you think you're worth per hour. So as an example, you might be a business coach. If you charge yourself out before at $200 an hour, put $200 there. So if you're only working 10 hours per week facilitating business coaching and you're doing 20 hours a week on administration, then we could say that 20 hours times $200 is $4,000. So you might not be thinking that you're wasting $4,000, but in the context of scaling a business, you very much are. So the idea here is you go through this, put all the tasks in, and then you'll send that through to us. So what we'll do at EasyVA is that we will look at these tasks and we'll determine, oh, is this something that could be done by a virtual assistant as per what you've put? We obviously know what works and what does not work, so we're going to give our opinion on what you're suggesting the virtual assistant might be able to do, and we will say definitively yes or no, VA can do this, and we'll put the cost, right? So we'll put that this VA is going to cost you $15 per hour, and then we'll work out what the new cost is. Okay, so then we can work out some financial reasoning around this decision to maybe hire a virtual assistant. So then, of course, you're going to come to the conclusion that, okay, well, that's great on the surface level, but I still need to come up with $400 a week or $200 a week or $1,000 a week out of my pocket to spend on this. But again, that's the entrepreneur bet that you're going to need to make somewhere down the line if you're going to scale your business, or you just don't scale your business. So the second template that you will see is this EasyVA VA task list and job brief. So this is where you can use this to create a job description. If you've got your own format for that, then use that. This is really just designed as a prompt. If you don't have something, we find this really useful because people can just kind of fill in the gaps. So what are the personal attributes? So delete these out, fill out your own. Is attention to detail, is that desirable? Is it a must-have, or is it useful? Okay, great. It's desirable that they have that. So just mark these things in here. So then we've got broad skills. So social media you would describe as being a broad skill. That's not a specific task. So these are the broad skills you put here, and then again put in the desirability. And then list the tasks. Okay, so what are the very specific tasks? So LinkedIn messaging. Okay, so email handling. So email handling and sorting. So what's the timing on that? The timing is all day. So you might have somebody who's sitting there and part of their role is to organize all your emails. So hours per week, if you add it up, it might be 2 hours a day, depending on how many emails you get, of course. So then you put 10 hours per week. Okay, so this then gives us the volume of work required for the VA. So once you've created the job description or this job brief as per this template, then of course what we want you to do is book your consultation. So at the website as well, you'll also have a form. You'll be able to upload the documents there. So book a call with us. We will do a mini deep dive into your business. Of course, we'll see what you have on the documents. If you feel like you're already ready and you don't need to go through this unpacking process, maybe hiring somebody is something you've already thought about, and you've got the job, you've got the job brief, you've got everything, you've already done the thinking, then just book your session. We're okay with that. But if we're going to spend 30 minutes with you on a free consultation, then we want to make the best use of that time. So it's really ideal that we have some understanding and visibility. That's why having that pre-work done works really, really well for us. So in that deep dive session, we will look at your business, we'll understand the dynamics of how it is working right now and where a virtual assistant is going to be useful, if at all. And we might come to the conclusion that you could quite easily build out a team. And we're not just talking here about a personal assistant. There could be other roles in the business. There could be many other things. If you're an engineering company, then you might run engineers. If you're an IT company, you might run IT staff. If you're a marketing agency, you might run SEO staff. There's all sorts of things. But use this framework which I've showed you to kind of unpack what it looks like in your business. Then we'll do that deep dive and we'll discover whether outsourcing is going to be a thing for you. And then we'll also discuss how it works from our end. One of the things at EasyVA is that we are very, very honest about what works and what does not work offshore. And there is a learning process, of course, that you might need to go through to make this whole thing work. And one of the things that we do very well at EasyVA is we partner with you to make sure that you have everything that you need. The staff that we put in place, they have team leaders, and that team leader's job is to be the conduit between you and the staff. Make sure the staff works really well. Make sure you have what you need so that we can build out what we call a high-performing remote team. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really hope you found that useful and you can use this exercise in your business, or at least you can get some real clarity on how you can leverage yourself. Please reach out. Send me an email at monty@easyva.com. That should be. Visit the website, www.easyva.com. If you send an inquiry through, it's probably not going to be me that answers. It will be one of my virtual assistants. But I promise I will get the message and we'll set a session. And I really look forward to talking to you soon. And if I don't, then I really look forward to hearing about your future successes. Bye for now.